Welcome to We Are Pius, the podcast where faith meets formation and our Thunderbolt community speaks from the heart. I'm Jeremy Eckler, Chief Administrative Officer of Pius X High School in Lincoln, Nebraska. In each episode, we'll sit down with the people who make this place more than a school, they make it a faith-filled community. From educators and coaches to students, alumni, and leaders, we're exploring how Catholic education at Pius transforms lives, builds character, and shapes our future. Whether you're a parent, parishioner, or proud graduate, you're invited into the conversation. Today is going to be a lot of fun. We're talking campus ministry with a couple of goofballs from campus ministry. How did you guys not laugh that entire intro? You've been laughing for 5 minutes. Right? I'm with Scotty Sullivan.
Time to get serious, Jeremy.
And Tori Robert. We're just going to have fun and see where this goes. How's that sound?
Yeah, it's excellent.
Ooh, I can do it.
All right. So we're going to talk about campus ministry. The theme here is what makes Pius different. And campus ministry's come so far at Pius since, I hear this all the time from parents and from graduates. The growth in campus ministry, the focus on campus ministry has transformed the culture here. That comes from somewhere, though. So let's start here. Tori, what shaped you in your faith? Because you can't give what you don't have, and you guys give Pius so much.
Yes. Thanks, Jeremy. Excited to be here on the podcast. And yeah, I would say, okay, first, I'm not from Nebraska, so working at Pius is always a new adventure every day. I grew up in Boston, a little outside of Boston, and I was away from the faith most of my high school experience. I was a Mass on Sunday kind of girl. My family's Italian Catholic, but we didn't really do much extra in the faith life. And it wasn't until I got to college, met a focus missionary there at the University of Connecticut. And yeah, her faith was on fire. And weirdly enough, she was from Nebraska. And I thought she was overly peppy most of the time, too nice and just Nebraska nice. But she took an interest in me in a way that really it stopped me in my tracks. And I wanted to know what she had, and what she had was Jesus. And I did not have him in the same way. So yeah, her faith, her persistence really just, drew me in and shaped me. She walked with me in college. So much so that I wanted to be a focus missionary.
Yeah,
myself.
And you've told that story really beautifully in front of 1,100 people in the Pius. Something we all share, actually, standing in front of the Pius gym and sharing our stories, which I think is unique to Pius. That the very people who are forming the students on the day-to-day are willing to get on a mic and say, "This is who I really am," and be vulnerable. Your story was beautiful, Tori. And so,
Thanks.
Yeah, I guess we'll kind of plug that too, because people can go and find that audio on our website as well.
Yeah, that was a cool experience.
Yeah. It was a cool experience. Scotty, how about you? Who shaped you? What shaped you?
Yeah. I feel like I don't have all that cool stuff to offer, but I'm from Lincoln, and I would just say this question gets asked a lot about whether it's from students or other families or parents that are raising kids. But I always think back to just childhood and family specifically, and my parents, of people who just understood what the faith was, how to live it, how to live simply, how to just be thankful and blessed for what we had. And so I always just think about that, being a student here at Pius. And yeah, the Catholic faith is just what we did. And so when I went off to college, it wasn't a shock to be surrounded by people who didn't agree, or people who weren't living the faith, because at the end of the day, I could go home to family, siblings, family friends that all were practicing the faith. Neighbors. I grew up with all Catholic neighbors, the St. Teresa's neighborhood. So yeah, and then in college, it was super easy just to find authentic people who were like, you know what, I want to live out this faith. I want to do it too. And so I had a good group of people my first few years at the University of Nebraska, and we would literally walk to the Newman Center together, play cards together. So that was just super fun. But yeah, I would ultimately just say my family, especially my great parents.
Yeah, two very different journeys, right? So Tori, you almost had that road to Damascus, Saul to Paul moment where a person was the light in your life and took what was kind of procedural and practical and turned it into something really deep. And Scotty, you had sort of the day-to-day, more of an evolution of faith, yet you're both here together. What is what brought you both into this world of, Scotty, starting with you, what made you think campus ministry is something I want to do, and I want to do it at Pius?
Yeah. Well, when I was in college, I studied education, and I always was like, it's kind of funny. My freshman year, freshman year of college, I came into Pius. I talked to Jan Fraser, and I said, Jan, I just want to work at Pius, but I don't know what that looks like. And she's like, well, you could do this. And I was like, no, I don't want to teach that. You could do this. I was like, no, I have no, like, math. No, like all this stuff that I didn't want to spend like the whole day or like my whole college career like studying one thing. So time kind of went by, and I finished college. But through college, I always remember being asked to help on different retreats or help with freshman groups or stuff like that. So I always found myself walking with Pius students in one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
And then teaching, I taught 6th grade at St. Joe's. And I remember that year being like, the reason I love teaching is this connection with students, especially students who are able to receive like deep conversations about the faith and can talk about those things and articulate those things. And so that led me to Pius of, okay, wait, this is actually what I want to do at Pius. I want to walk with the high schoolers. And so now I'm here with them. So it's great. I love it.
Yeah, you really sort of abandoned yourself to just kind of got in the river and went with God's plan here. And
I was like, Jan, please help me figure out my life.
Yeah, Mrs. Fraser's ended up on a couple of the podcasts as a mention of a deep influence. So that's great. And how about for you, Tori? How'd you end up here?
Yeah, I would say a little different than Scotty. I worked for Focus for just about 9 years, and I loved working with college students. But I remember just saying to some friends one day, like, I would love to work with high schoolers. And I think that some people don't usually say that, or they're like, I would never want to work with high schoolers. They're annoying. They're, overly chatty. And sometimes those are those things. But for the most part, I just have a heart for them because I remember what it was like to be in high school. And I remember when I was in high school, I had a teacher who taught history, and she was like so warm and consistent. And I remember just going into her room after school and just sharing everything that was going on with me, drama, friendships. And she just listened so well. And I just remember her so much. And I think like if we can be that in even a small way, I think a lot of high schoolers just need somebody to listen to them. They just want to be heard. So yeah, bringing my work as a missionary with Focus and kind of transferring it now to high school, which it's different. It's a different type of mission. But I still, I love them, and I want to bring Jesus to them because they're craving for it, even if they couldn't name that themselves.
Yeah. So we've kind of taken your journey up to the present day. And I remember when I took the job at the Cathedral of the Risen Christ as a principal, one of the teachers telling me, these kids will change your life. They will give you so much. They will give so much to your faith. We're up to the present now. How has working here impacted your own faith life? What have the students and what has the community done for you? Who wants to go first on that one?
I'll go first. I was just thinking about this the other day, actually. We do one-on-ones with our students. And so I was meeting with some of the male students the other day. And I remember just there was 2 in the same day. And during the conversation, I remember thinking, gosh, these kids get it. And they're juniors in high school. And it's hard to be a high school boy and to take things seriously and to not fall into like all the temptations. And I remember after both those conversations just being like, these kids have it figured out. And it feels like they actually have it figured out more than like people I know that are older or, are like well-versed in the faith.
Totally. I mean, there's not a day that goes by I don't talk to a student here and I'm like, how old are you? Oh, I'm 16. I'm like, I was thinking about what I was doing. I'll start thinking about what I was doing at 16. I'm like, no, there's just no way.
Right. Or like when they apply for campus ministry, they'll answer questions. And one of the questions is, how have you encountered Jesus this summer? And the answers, I'm like, I wasn't able to articulate like how Jesus was, how I was encountering Jesus in my life or where Jesus was. But these kids are just so aware of what's happening and they can tell you about it. And it's just so inspiring to me. So I leave every day with all of that and take that home. And it's just great. And so I'm always like, I want to better myself because these kids are worth me being at my best.
Yeah.
So.
Yes. Retweet on that. I totally agree. I mean, the maturity in a lot of the students, the females that I speak to, I mean, I even talked to a girl today and like Scotty said, we we're doing spiritual 101s where we meet with a student and we just talk to them about their life with God and their families. And I was asking her today, like, if you could name one thing that you want Jesus to give you this year. And she was like, I'm really good at like giving of myself. Like I'm good at like serving. And I just think I really need to receive this year. And I was like,
wow.
Yes, me too. Because that's like so mature. And she's a junior. She's like, I think my word of the year is just going to be receive. And I was like, yeah, that's really awesome. And she was like, can you like give me some tips on like how to do that better? And then we talked about like, how do we surrender things to Jesus and how do we like remove the things that are lies and that are not of him? And I'm like, I feel like I'm talking to like one of my girlfriends and she's a junior at Pius. So just conversations like that of like, wow, there are so many students that they're taking it really seriously. And that's a gift for me to have.
Yeah,
to
that's
see.
so good. And we've I think had 2 mentions of these one-on-ones. We're going to get to some of the programs and things, but I have to imagine those are just really powerful and revealing. We'll talk a little bit more about those and some of the programs too, but let's dig in a little bit to what you're seeing with the students on the daily. We've started talking about that a little bit already. When you think about culture and just basically teenagers in general, what's unique about the faith life of today's teenagers? What are the things that they're facing, confronting, and the way they're incorporating faith on that journey? What do you think, Scotty?
Yeah, this is something I think about a lot because we see so much evil in our world, and these kids are facing all of that evil more than even when I was in high school. But what I think is happening is these high schoolers have seen all the garbage, and so now they're looking for something else that's going to actually fulfill their desires, and they might not know what that is, but they're seeking. And so what I say about teenagers, and especially the high schoolers that I'm seeing here at Pius, is that they're seeking truth and they're not afraid to do it, even if it means going to adoration at 7 p.m. on a Wednesday night when nobody in their family does it, or going to mass before school when their family doesn't even go to mass on Sundays. They're not afraid because they're like, there's no other option.
Yeah.
Like, I've tried everything else, so now I'm going to do this.
I mean, we're recording this shortly after just a string of brutal things, school shootings and an assassination of a public figure. And we called a rosary yesterday, and we had 40, 50 kids giving up their time after school. And these are busy kids. These are kids in a lot of activities, working jobs. And there was Father Freschel, our chaplain, leading a rosary, and their response was to turn to the faith. So I think there's a lot going on there. I also follow athletics a lot. It's amazing to me how many athletes are taking that platform. You know, Rebecca Alec was here. She's sort of the model for this, and stepping forward and saying, this is I'm going to use this platform for something greater. So I do see that surfacing too, Scotty.
Yeah. And there was that rosary actually reminded me of 2 years ago, we had students come to us and say, hey, it's the day before homecoming, and we're really worried about our classmates and the choices they're going to make. So can we announce that we're going to pray a rosary during 5th period? And so in the old front office, we had like 40 seniors that were in there praying the rosary because they wanted what was best for their classmates.
Yeah. And I mean, we lost a dear man last year, Don McKee, and couldn't even count, circled the baseball field students to pray for Don's family, Don and his family. They walked to his house, and we had a prayer at the baseball field. It's an incredible response. Tori, you want to piggyback off that or have thoughts on that too? I mean, some amazing stories.
Yeah, there are so many amazing stories. And I was thinking about this week leading up to the podcast. You know, I think this generation, and this is not a surprise to anyone, like they're very lonely and they're seeking connection. They're on their phones more than any other generation, you know, all the things that they know this to be true. We know it to be true. And I think that, like Scotty said, like they really are not afraid to put themselves out there and to be a part of something bigger, because that's what they really want. And there are so many things at Pius that they can get involved in, but you hear from students, even students that are not super involved, like it's just really cool that I can get an invitation to something that's Jesus friendly, like that has Jesus involved, even if I'm not super involved with Jesus, that like people are inviting me to do things. And I know the option is always there, and I can go if I want, but like having the freedom to choose, and then to see the students that maybe you think, oh, I didn't think they would go to Restore, the events that we'll talk about here in a minute. But yeah, these events that we have, like students every week that were like, oh, wow, look, they're there. That's so cool. And just the daily mass attendance in the mornings, like yesterday morning going to mass and seeing like so many students, even ones I'm like, oh, wow, like cool. Like they're getting up and going at 7:20.
Yeah.
Where they could be sleeping in.
And just what a gift daily mass in a high school is. I know this podcast is listened to by people outside of our Pius community, people who are considering Pius. I think that's one of those things people aren't aware of. Like we have adoration twice a week. We have adoration on Tuesdays and First Fridays. We have confessions. Yep. We've got daily mass. All of this is available to our students. And you're right. It's incredible to see who does show up and who surprises you, and then the regulars too, I suppose. I mean, the students are facing so many things in the culture. You have a story. We got to be a little bit careful here, right? Because these are personal stories, and these students trust you with so much. But is there a story that comes to mind when we're talking about like an individual student and how they've come alive in their faith? Yeah.
I mean, we could sit here for hours and tell stories about students and growth. But we'll spare everybody.
We could do a Joe Rogan style 5 hour. Actually, I've never listened to his podcast. I just know they're long.
Let's do it. Let's compete.
We're gonna take him off the charts though.
No, I think back to last year. The senior class was super great, and we had a student who wanted to learn more about the faith, and went on a tech retreat and was not Catholic. And was sitting in adoration and had been in classes and knew, obviously, like as Catholics, we believe this is Jesus. And he spoke about his desire to want to be Catholic. But anyways, just being at the tech retreat, and it was during adoration, and it was, the lights are like dimmed, whatever. But during that, I kind of went over there, and I was, boys don't really want to get up and go request to be prayed with because everything's fine. And so I just went up to him, and he was in my discipleship group. So I was like, hey, I'm just going to pray with you. And I'm like, closing my eyes, 5 minutes into prayer, another hand, I can like feel somebody on the other side. And then I can feel another person on the back. And then like at one point there was, I don't know, like 7 different teammates of his, all boys that were just like there praying with him. Wow. And he was just like in tears, and they were in tears. And yeah, it was just moving because he's sitting in the front row. He's not Catholic. He desires this, has expressed a lot of stuff to me. And then all these kids were just like, I want to be here and support you and pray with you. And so all these students saw it. And it was like, okay, this is how the tech retreat's going to be. Here we go.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was just a one weekend story.
Then he came into the church.
Oh, yeah. Then he converted, yes.
Oh, yes. Wow. Yeah.
Sorry.
All those guys were there.
Yeah. And one of them was his sponsor. Yeah. I mean, it's just like crazy.
And they're like cool senior athletes. Like these guys are like leaders in the Pius community, people that others look up to, and yeah, just to hear, I wasn't there firsthand, but to hear that story and just to hear that people wanted to stand up and pray with him and for him. I mean, again, it's like things that other people might be thinking, like, I never did that in high school.
Yeah.
Or didn't know people that were doing that or praying that way.
Yeah.
So.
Was that the story that kind of came to mind for you too, of it's just a student experience?
I thought about this, and I couldn't think of one particular. I mean, there's a number of women that, this is now my 4th year at Pius. So when I was the first time worker here, they were freshmen. So now they're seniors.
Oh, neat.
So it's cool because this is the first class I'll see all 4 years. And there's one girl I just think of, she was in her freshman encounter group, and I don't know if she like loved it. Every Tuesday she would sit kind of with her arms crossed and, not really answer the questions. And now this girl, she never used to look at me when her freshman year, but she is so personable. She is like a leader in campus ministry. She asks questions about myself. She's like, Mrs. Roberts, like, how are you doing? Like, how are your kids? Again, very personable, mature. So yeah, she's someone I thought of, but there's like Scotty said, there's countless students who, even just like we were saying, there's a student last year who went on just one of our day-long retreats, and they had a really deep encounter in confession, and just they were saying like that was it for them. Like they just had to go to confession, and they felt so much better, so much lighter, just those small moments that we get to witness every day. I mean, again, we could talk forever about all the stories and the students and just the anecdotes that they share with us. When you think like, oh, they're not listening, or they didn't really hear that talk, or they didn't look like they were paying attention. And then like a few months go by and they're like, I was thinking about what you said in that retreat. And you're like,
what did I say?
Were you awake? I didn't know.
I don't remember what I said.
So that's even cooler. Or like they'll remember something next year and say like, can I talk? Like literally a girl today was like, can I talk to you next week? I have something going on. And she was in my encounter group like 2 years ago and we haven't talked in 2 years. Mm-hmm. So just knowing like, oh, I guess, that there was a fruit that was born that encounter group that she trusts me enough to want to like share something.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Provides a lot of hope. You guys have hope in the future? I mean, we hear about this generation and they're on their phones and they're isolated and they're depressed, but this sounds pretty promising to me.
Yes,
Yeah.
I would say so. I was telling someone today, I was like, gosh, some days, not all days, but some days, these high schoolers in this environment, in this culture that we get to witness makes me want to like redo high school over again and be like, what would it be like to have so many people who were living out the faith, not just like the mass on Sunday, but they were like coming up to you saying, are you going to Restore? Are you in a discipleship group? Like, what would that have done for me as a high schooler? And then to go and play spike ball with these kids. And I don't know, like come spring, all these kids are doing such fun things. And yeah, so I have a lot of hope.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about the ways you provide resources to these students we're talking about. So the programs, it's grown so quick. It's evolving all the time too. I mean, one of the things I think I really admire about campus ministry is we're not just running programs. We're sort of living it. We're responding to the needs of the student and creating the programs that we feel like they need. What are some of the bigger things we do with retreats, service, prayers, opportunities, sacraments? We just want to dig into those things. You guys can take it. Yeah, take
all
it.
of the above.
Yeah.
Yes,
Next.
and
kidding.
more.
We don't have time. No,
I mean it's awesome. The Lord is working, and when I started here, it was just myself as the campus minister, and Pius has had campus ministers for many years. Mm-hmm. But I think having the addition of Scotty, and then some of the females have changed the last few years, but just having a more robust team, we're able to do so much more, which is a gift. Our main bread and butter is our retreats. We run, previously it was like, okay, you go on a retreat with your class. So all the sophomores go together, and that model worked for a while, but I think kids were really desiring more specific retreats to where they were in their faith life. They can choose when they're going on the retreats, and they can choose like what type of retreats they're going on. So yeah, moving to that platform kind of helped us. So retreats are what we do the most. Like that's where we spend most of our time organizing those, getting students on those. And we do about 10. We do 10 this year. So retreats are the biggest thing. What else do we do, Scotty?
I would say the other really big thing is our campus ministry team. This year we're at, 200. The Excel spreadsheet today said 203 students. So what that looks like is the students who have a desire to be in campus ministry the first 2 weeks of the school year. So this just closed. They apply for campus ministry, kind of fill out the questions, as I mentioned earlier. And then once we have all of our students, we meet every 3 weeks. And because we've outgrown every space in the school, we are in the gym. And so we'll meet with those students and have speakers and talk about prayer and do rosaries and all that cool stuff. But the cool thing this year is within this group of 203 students, they're all part of a committee that is helping and planning various things at Pius. So a Pack the Chap committee, a Restore committee, a committee for our teachers, a committee for serving at Mass, what else? A feast days committee, just all this fun stuff where the students are responsible for planning various things and delegating. So those committees are run by seniors, and they're in charge of those and making sure that kids are showing up and participating. So that's turned into a beast. We're very thankful that there's 200 kids in campus ministry, but as Jeremy said, we're always trying to figure out how to, they have a desire to serve. So it's like, how do we make 200 kids serve and feel included and hold them accountable? Yeah, and one of the things I mentioned was restore, and so that's kind of our I don't know what we want to call that, like our
Big kahuna.
but not what I was thinking, but
Oh, you're thinking? Yeah. I mean, it's the thing that like
it's-
it's really blown up. Like our restores are every the first Wednesday of every month, and again, it went from like 50 kids in the Pius Chapel to now I think the last one had 317.
Mm-hmm.
320, but
320, close.
We gotta take the extra
But
30.
and it's not even about numbers. It's just that like the numbers help, of course, but it's like students coming at 7 p.m. on a Wednesday to hear a testimony from one of their peers, to listen to music, and to go to confession and receive prayer. We have prayer teams. We have young people from the community that come back to Pius to pray on these prayer teams. It's really cool, and it's by candlelight, and students love it, and it's become like the thing to do. Like, like
Yeah.
Scotty said, like, are you going to restore tonight? And we have like a fun snack. We had ice cream. We've had all sorts of things, chip bar.
I mean,
So
why would you not go?
how would you
know?
not go?
Yeah, I mean, it's just
Anybody out
completely
there?
optional.
It's
Yeah.
No,
optional,
just-
and it's after school,
Yeah.
and
You're talking about fully a third of our school showing
Right.
up for these events.
And
I
when you,
mean,
like,
on their own, yeah.
Confession, it's like, okay, because we have a student give a testimony, so their testimony ends, Jesus is on the altar, and literally like within seconds,
crazy.
I would say 150 students will get up and get in the confession line, which we had to change because it's so many students. So then that line goes around the gym, and
We
have-
talked about in our team meeting yesterday, getting like at the airport, like the ropes where you like go through security. We're
So it
like,
feels
maybe
like
we
you're-
need that because it's a little
feels like the line's
chaotic.
moving the
Yes,
whole
we
time,
need them
but
to be
you're not.
moving in line.
Yeah.
I'm also not kidding. So if anyone has those,
So if
drop them off. But yeah, I mean, it's a grace. It's a grace. We have packed the chap too.
yeah,
We don't need to go into all of what we do, but these are
just a mass before
the
school.
big things. Just a mass before school. We choose one day of the month, usually like a feast day or something big, and students can invite their friends just to experience daily mass at Pius. And then there's donuts. Kids love the donuts. We love the donuts.
Any, I mean, they're all really well attended, obviously. Is there one that especially rises to the top? Like kids say, this is the one that impacts me or I like the most. I don't know which one is it.
Fall retreat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I think fall retreat. That's what comes to mind for
Yeah,
me.
I always think about the fall retreat, and it's just like you can't really explain like what happens. It's like chaos for 12 hours one day, and then you sleep there, and the kids don't sleep. Yeah, so you feel like you're up the whole time. But yeah, the fall retreat's just our overnight retreat, and there's 145 students on that, and I think the reason this is so powerful and impactful for these kids is because the adoration ends up being like an hour and a half, 2 hours, but they don't feel that because the music's beautiful, the silence is great. They can go to confessions, prayer teams, but then when that's over, they're not leaving. They're spending the night in cabins or wherever we are with their peers, and so that feeling like continues on until the next day with their peers. And so this year that retreat filled up in 15 minutes.
It's our most popular retreat, and kids love it because some of them don't want to sleep overnight, but I think once they experience that, to get like that extra time, they don't have to go home in the afternoon. They get like to spend the whole night with their friends, and we ask them not to be on their phones, so they're like unplugged from the rest of the world. And at first it's the worst part, but at the end, kids are like, I loved not having my phone.
Yes.
I loved shocker. Yeah,
Shout out to Mr. Schlottman for my cabin wanted to do a 3 a.m. holy hour, so he had to get
he
up.
never slept.
Yeah, so I didn't sleep, but it was really cool.
Yeah, I would say that's our most popular event every year.
Yeah, we kind of talked about this already too. We've got all these great programs. Kids are engaging at a high level. You're getting data back. You're doing one-on-one interviews now to figure out where everyone's faith life is at. We're doing more and more work with the staff as well here. But how do you? No doubt in a community this big, there are people who are unsure, hesitant, resistant. What do? Do you just stay present to them? Do you? I mean, how do you not pester? How do you go about just sticking with those kids? Because it sounds like Tori, you said too, like it took years, but this girl warmed up and had a full conversion and the maturity. I don't know. You just kind of wait it out. How do you go about those unsure ones?
Well, I think with like our retreat program, changing that was a huge thing because we have retreats. We literally go into all the theology classrooms and present like what are the retreats and who are they kind of geared towards. And we have retreats that are for kids who I literally say, if you're not sure about this whole Catholic faith thing, or you think it's boring, or you're not even sure God's like real, there's a few retreats for you. And so we do get those kids on those retreats, which can kind of be intimidating because you're walking into like a crowd of kids who are like, this is dumb. And you're like, no, it's not. So that's actually really,
you really just made space for them.
Yeah.
Say, this is a place you can go and we'll talk about it. We'll be honest about it.
To recognize like, okay, there are kids who don't believe, and we're not afraid to say that, like, hey, if you don't believe or you think this is just like garbage, like we'd love for you to be on this retreat. And if we change your mind, or if the Holy Spirit works like within your heart, then great, you know? And on that retreat, Tori mentioned earlier, we had a kid who signed up for it not knowing what to expect, and it like changed his life. And I was not expecting for anybody's life to be changed from that retreat, but now he comes up to us in the hallway and will tell us about how he's inviting his non-Catholic friends and talking about the Catholic Church. And it's like, it gives me goosebumps just talking about that specifically.
Yeah, those retreats are really good. I think also just like getting to know kids outside of like a faith perspective, you know, just remembering things that they said to you, taking an interest. I mean, you think it's basic, but I think for the kids, like even something as simple as like remembering their name. I love doing that when we stand out during passing period. I'm like, hey, Clara, hey, David. And I think sometimes they're like, how do you know my name?
Yeah, they like keep walking.
And but I know deep down, you know, they say like the power of a name, like just hearing the name that, you know, was given to you and hearing that by somebody else, especially like an adult. Yeah, I think just small moments like that, it really does impact them to know like, oh, this person knows me.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just like a small area of trust that I can grow in. So if I needed to talk to them in the future, you know, we're talking about softball, we're talking about show choir, just other things to like build that trust. Because a lot of kids, you're saying like their faith has been broken or there's been some sort of rupture in trust. So just building that trust, I think, is a huge first step.
I think just overall, while Tori was talking about that, is like we try to bring the Catholic faith to life outside of a textbook or outside of a classroom. And so if we can be normal and fun and interact with these kids, then that's just like a seed planted for so much more. So,
yeah. And I think Pius in our Catholic schools and the Diocese of Lincoln has always done a really good job of teaching the theology.
Yeah.
Something that we've gotten better at is, I know I talk about this often, breathing with both lungs, you know, knowing the faith, but then having the personal relationship with Jesus as well. And that's a place I see. I don't think the campus ministry team is weak on the theology side, but I see them really emphasizing this relationship with Jesus. And then we're kind of breathing with both lungs. I think that's the purpose, you know, and these programs are great.
And students want that. They tell us that all the time. Like, yeah, I've been taught all these things during my Catholic education in Lincoln, but I really want to know, like, how do I pray? Like, how do I know Jesus personally? They're craving that. And how do I make time for him? We hear that a lot. Like, how do I find time for God?
Yeah.
When we're so busy.
Right.
Yeah. And prayers, you know, when my daughters were little, I used to take them to a dance studio, and on the wall it said the plie is the first thing you learn and the last thing you master. And I often think about that in our faith life with prayer. We're going to ask that question the rest of our life. How do I pray? Teach me to pray. And that takes a high degree of vulnerability. But you guys have opened up those pathways where it's okay to ask that question, to seek those resources. How do I build my relationship with Christ? Because that's what prayer really is. Anything else on the retreats, the service projects, any special moments, anything else on that front? I mean, there's so much there, so many great things.
I guess the other thing that I was thinking about is our discipleship program and kids because discipleship is completely optional, like showing up to Restore. And it's a weekly thing where they're literally just finding a group of friends and a leader in the community to lead them weekly. And so they're showing up to discipleship on their own time at night before school with their friends, and they're doing it as a group of friends. And that's been super powerful. And we have like 200 kids doing that. And that just like, stirs a whole school when you have kids that are choosing to do that.
Yeah. This is happening out of your little office. Both of you, Lily, Father Freschel. But honestly, I think one of the things that has been a great, I guess, a delight for me my first weeks here there's a lot of collaboration with our teachers, our coaches, our staff. How do you work with them? How do you find a way to connect with all of these other, Pius is a big entity with a lot going on. How do you connect with these teachers, coaches, families too?
It's a great question. Yes, it is. And you're right. Like Pius, there's a ton of employees. There's people that have been here forever teaching. There's new teachers. There's coaches that maybe don't teach, but they just coach. And how do you incorporate all of them? I think we pray for them a lot. I think that's just the first thing I think of, praying and interceding that, yeah, they could be bold in their faith, to know that, again, students want them to be vulnerable, want them to like really live the faith in the classroom. And I love the opportunities we get to be together as a staff. Like, I love our staff retreats. They bring me so much joy, and we do them in August, and then we do them again in January. I wish we did more, if there was so much more time, but teachers are doing so much. But getting the teachers together to pray and to pray with them, like we'll offer prayer teams, and just to have that time together. I think they maybe all wouldn't admit that they need it, but I know that, yeah, for me, that's always a good time, just to remind them, and not that we know better at all, but just to live that together. And I heard from a teacher yesterday, she was saying, you know, when I taught in public school, I couldn't really like talk about Jesus at all. And now like I can like share my subject with my students and incorporate like how this relates back to our faith. And that's just so cool. I get to do that here. So just hearing her perspective, you know, still being a new teacher, but yeah, just hearing her say that was really cool. So that's what I think of.
Yeah.
Scotty.
And when I think of our coaches, I think of, yeah, just like the events that we have, and I think about Restore, you know, like the adoration, the coaches know now, and they'll end their practices early to allow their kids to go to Restore if that's what they want to go to. And yeah, just a lot of coaches have been very receptive to having chaplains on their team to allow that faith to continue to grow onto their sports teams, from our priests here who have done a fantastic job with that. So that's been cool to watch. Like, yeah, we can integrate the faith in sports and school, and we actually should. Like, all those things go together. And I just feel like we interact with the families a lot. We're always emailing parents about retreats and different stuff. And even the last few years, having a few parent restores. And so just like getting to know the parents as they're coming in, and
our social media. Yeah. Just like sharing, you know, making a reel or a video after a retreat, or sharing a testimony, just even pictures of like our teachers. Like, we made a little slideshow of like who's teaching, you know, priests and religious. People love that. You know, I want them to see that, like,
People love it.
You know, I love it. If I saw another school and they showed like who's teaching theology, I'd be like, oh, cool. Let me see who's teaching there this year. And like, and what a gift that we get to have so many religious and priests in the building. For sure. And yeah, I think the moms love seeing all the teachers.
I think like everything's just so interconnected at Pius. That, like, you show up to an event and it's like you're meeting someone's parents, or like the teachers, the parents, coaches. It's all just like so interconnected that when you meet one person, you've now met 10 somehow. And that's what I love.
Yeah, so it's great. So as we look forward with campus ministry, we know how much it's changed the culture already. Scotty, you said it, but I hear it from parents all the time. Man, I wish I had all this programming. I wish I had this experience when I was in high school. We've seen the impact on the landscape here. Looking forward, what are the hopes and the dreams for campus ministry over the next 5 years?
Ooh, long ways away. Tori?
Oh,
I know. I know. I've heard talk, like, we have certain goals. We've got this campaign ongoing, sure. Right? Build a bigger chapel. How many can we get to come to Restore night? Set some goals. Pack the new chap when that's done in 2027. This sort of stuff too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a definitely a loaded question, and one to think about a lot. But I even see it not so much as like, what are the hopes for campus ministry, but what are the hopes of the Catholicism of Pius? How do we continue to make the culture here just, you know, like Sarah Goebel said on the previous podcast, like, it's just what we do. Like, we're Catholic. It's just what we do. To have it be like students come here and they expect like to go to adoration. They expect to be prayed with, to know how to pray with others. That's just the culture we're building up. Like, yeah, there's a crisis. Let's go pray a rosary. Kids just like want to do that. And even more, I would say, like, the dream is that students are taking that initiative for themselves. You know, we're starting that, like Scotty said, this year, more and more with campus ministry club, as we call it. It's not really a club, but group of students, you know, to rise up and be the leaders in the faith, and for us not to have to like, drag people along. Not that we do that, but for them to come to us and say like, let's do this, let's do this. Like, and for people to look at Pius and be like, yeah, that's a place where I want my kids to go because their culture is so authentically Catholic. So that's my dream.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I would just say, I know this is kind of, I don't know, vague, but for all the kids to like come into Pius with that expectation, like Tori was saying, of this is a place that I'm going to grow spiritually, and this isn't just like another high school. Like when I'm on lunch today, I look out into the lunchroom, and sometimes I'm like sad because I know there's kids in there that don't know who they are and they don't know who to turn to. And yeah, I would just love for this space, and I think it's really growing in that direction, but I would love for this school to be a place that heals hearts, that brings hearts together, that if someone feels lost, now they don't because they're here in this community. So
yeah. And I think you both hit on this idea that parents are choosing the school and students are choosing the school because they want something different, something distinct. We're the Central Catholic High School here in Lincoln. We're forming them for now, but we're really building tomorrow's Catholic leaders as well. So what we're giving them is what they're going to carry forward. Is there anything in particular you think when they leave Pius, I want to make sure they have this?
One opportunity to encounter Jesus in a personal way.
Yeah.
Or like even better, an encounter with Jesus himself, where even if it was a small one on a retreat, or if it was in like a conversation with a staff member, that they could maybe, even if they fall away in college or they get into a bad relationship or, like they get divorced, sadly, they can come back and be like, remember that time at Pius when I was on that retreat and I heard Jesus and I knew it was him, but I pushed him away. Like, remember that?
yeah,
Maybe I can go back to that. That's what I hope for. Like, because sometimes, you're in ministry work and you're like, oh my gosh, it could be so much. We're doing so much. Am I making an impact? But yeah, I think that God works outside of time. So.
I've talked to Father Sassy quite a bit about that at the Newman Center. Not quite a bit, actually. It was one conversation. Sorry, Father. But it was a good conversation.
It was enough.
It was enough. But he talked about, he's at the Newman Center. He's receiving a lot of our students, and he's also saying, we don't know where they're at on their journey. I mean, they may disappear, but if someone has once told them, like, you are loved and you can come home, they'll come back, just that flicker. So we just have to stay present to them. So, and that happens, Tori, through that encounter. I know Jesus, and I know he's waiting for me to turn back to him.
Yeah. I would totally agree with what Tori said, like being able to offer a space where they can feel that peace or that warmth or that love. Because like I said earlier, like they're experiencing so many different things that are not those things. And I would love for them someday to just be like, I remember going to the chapel one day and I didn't know what I prayed about, but I remember feeling peace, or I remember feeling loved, or that teacher showed me love for the first time. And then, like she said, just they can circle back to, okay, what is it? Well, it's Jesus, right? It wasn't the school. It wasn't that person. It was Jesus. So
this has been a fantastic conversation. I'm so glad we could share this with the community. And again, for families who haven't been to Pius yet or are considering Pius, I think this is one of those things that clearly makes Pius distinctively different. In this podcast, we always do the lightning round, though. We got to finish with the lightning round with the thunderbolts. We don't have theme music for this yet.
You should.
We should. It's time for the lightning round. Here we go. We'll start with Tori. Who's your favorite saint right now? Who are you connecting with?
Oh my gosh! You say don't mess it up. I'm not gonna mess it up. Saint Gianna. She was a mom and a wife, and those are, they're the working at Pius. Those are my two big things, wife and mom. So I pray to her a lot because.
Yeah, at the time of this recording, you are.
She gets it.
How many weeks away from delivering twins?
I'm almost 35 weeks pregnant with twins on this podcast.
We actually were talking about a code word in case
my
your
water broke. No, it didn't. It didn't break.
Help.
Kidding. No, it
Gianna's
didn't.
I mean, she's just incredible.
I love St. Gianna. Yeah. We're actually naming one of our twins Gianna.
Oh, and I have a Gianna too. Good
okay,
stuff.
Well,
Nice.
kindred we are.
I'm
You
up
ready?
now?
Yeah.
Lightning. All right. John Bosco.
Why?
Mystic. Precursor, I think, to Father Flanagan in a lot of ways.
Oh my gosh,
so
I
good.
love Father Flanagan too. But I just love the way of, and you could lump JP2 into this too, but just a way that they were able to evangelize and how normal, the stuff that they did. And then they're like, hey, by the way, you can come to Mass. And it's like, oh, wow, that's really cool. I feel like that's what we do,
Yeah. Great picks.
No? Okay.
No, I think of you with John Bosco.
Great.
All right, Scotty, we'll start with you. Favorite Bible verse?
My favorite Bible verse right now is John 3:30. Right? Yeah, he must increase, I must decrease.
Yes.
That was like I was supposed to have a theme, and then that image showed up on the wall from your first year.
Really good.
My favorite Bible verse of all time is Romans 12:12, which is rejoice in hope, endure in affliction, and persevere in prayer.
Mm-hmm.
That's my all-timer. But recently it's been, and maybe one of you can find it in the Bible, but it's when John says when Jesus says, do you love me more than these?
Oh, yeah.
Do you love me more than these? And that's, it's just been resonating in my heart a lot because there's so many conflicting things and areas that I can put my time and heart. But do I love him above all before everything else I'm doing?
Nice.
So.
Yep. And just totally fitting that as campus ministers, you didn't have to read off of anything. You just answered. People can't see this because it's a podcast, obviously, but often people bring like a note card or a cheat sheet, and you guys
it's
boom,
a sad
straight
paper
from the
with
heart.
some scribble.
So we're obviously all praying, Tori, for you and your husband Jordan and the babies and the family. We're going to join you in those prayers. Our listeners will all do this, but who or what are you praying for right now?
Personally?
Yeah.
Energy and kindness.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
Those are the two things. Energy, that the Lord would multiply my time and effort working these last weeks, and kindness. I think one of the most underrated characteristics of Jesus is he's kind. So,
and we've talked about the staff in the campus ministry. Now might be a good chance too. When you leave, we have a great sub coming in to help you too. Should we mention her?
Oh, should we? My sub, Miss Coty Ring.
Just so everybody knows, when you're gone with your family.
She's a mom of 3, Pius, one now Pius alum, and yet to be Pius. But she's going to be my maternity sub. She's lovely, hard worker, a great,
keep things rolling. Yeah.
Person.
Great.
So, she'll be there.
How about you, Scotty? You're kind of known as, the guy in front of the crowd, the guy with the mic, the guy that's always kind of helping out. What can we do? How can we pray for you?
Well, wait, how can you pray for me?
What's on your heart? What do you want us to help?
For sure.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm always praying for, my vocation and just like the energy to keep living this mission, but doing it for him and not for our glory. And then what's always on my heart, especially now, is just like the students here, but also students in all of the schools with everything that's going on, is just for them to feel loved and know that Jesus is very much real.
Yeah, great. This is one of those questions I feel like gets asked a lot, but it brings out some of the best answers on this podcast. Who is your hero? Tori, you want to start with that one? Who's your hero?
Me.
Scotty's
no, he's waving over there.
Come on.
Coming right off of the diminishment.
My goodness.
I better be your hero.
I'm trying to be humble, but
it's you.
It's obvious.
No, I think my hero is my daughter, Anna Grace.
Mm-hmm.
She is going to be 3 in a few weeks, and she's just had a hard road. She had a stroke when she was 6 months, and just a lot of disability struggles, but she just recently started walking.
I know. I saw her and I was like, no way. This is the most resilient, tough.
She's a miracle. She's amazing. So she's my hero.
Oh yeah. Gosh dang, we're all choked up now, Tori. Why would you do that?
Why don't we just do that?
I don't know.
She's going to be out at the football games tonight.
We're all choked up.
Killing it, and she's going to want to
And as I quote
with
Tori earlier today, I'm putting my kids in the student section tonight.
I did say that. No, she wants to go be with the cheerleaders.
Absolutely.
Oh boy. So Anna Grace Roberts. Scotty.
Tough to top. Scotty. Yeah.
Second. I would say my hero is, this is cliche, but I would say my parents, and I'll say both so I don't disappoint one of them. But I think they both did exceptional things in my upbringing. They still do. I live 10 doors down from them, so I still get free food. But my dad has been incredible and is somebody that I go to with anything. And then just the way that my mom lives out her faith as a convert, I'm like, this is crazy. So
yeah, great.
Scotty has amazing parents.
Yes, indeed. Big Notre Dame fans too. Go
and not
Irish.
Everyone can say their parents. I love my parents too, but they're your heroes.
That's right. Wearing capes.
I feel like you guys are about as vulnerable, as open and open as anybody in the school. But what's one other thing you'd like the Thunderbolt community to know about? Or have we covered it all? We may have covered this. Maybe the first podcast was like, listen, it's all out. I mean, it's all out there.
Yeah. Here we are.
Now, I have heard you're very good at giving the local driving conditions. So maybe that could be the thing. We could do that at the end.
One thing they don't know about me, I've been to 14 countries.
Okay, that's good.
I've been to 14 countries, and there's only 3 states I've never been to.
Yeah, it's
Utah,
really cool.
Hawaii, and Montana. Thank you.
Ooh, Montana. We could knock that out.
If anybody has cabins out there, let us know.
Yes, I would love a vacation to
retreat
Hawaii.
in Montana or Wyoming. Yeah, okay.
Things I don't know about you. Scotty has a great shoe collection. I think people know that about you.
Yeah, they probably do. I do love shoes.
What else?
I think the two of us together is a really fun time.
Yeah.
They need to know that.
I think they need to know that's genuine. Yeah, that's not an act or something. This is.
No, working at Pius is so fun. And people think they come down to our office and they're like, do you get any work done sometimes? Because Scotty has he has a gift. He's an Energizer bunny. But it is so fun. It's work and play. And I think, like he said earlier, like that attracts people to the faith because they're like, oh, you're not just a weird Catholic. Like you can dance to Michael Bublé every so often.
Yeah, she texted us this morning and said it's a Michael Bublé day.
Fridays. It's just a fun day to dance.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Friday with Bublé. I like it. So let's do the prompt for the last lightning round question. The best part about being a Thunderbolt is... Scotty, you want to go first?
Yeah. Best part about being a Thunderbolt is, can I say more than one thing?
Mm-hmm.
Is having Jesus literally like walking through these halls. That's what it feels like and what is happening. And also the community, just like showing up to events and being like, wow, this is a family. These are my relatives.
Yep.
Not really. But.
I wrote on my paper the family because it is like, I think, I'm not best friends with everyone here, but there's especially women and moms that I could call. I know I will call when I have my children that would come over and be with me. And there's just a support system. You know, we have baby showers and time when people retire. And yeah, it could feel really just like a family. It does feel like a family.
Yeah.
That and the free cookies.
A lot of free sweets around here.
There's always
Are you
donuts.
changing your answer, Scotty?
No.
Yeah.
Stay away.
This has been an awesome conversation. I'm so glad we can. And we'll have you guys back to talk specifically about programs and do some timely stuff. We're going to do the outro now, and then at the end, I can kick it over to you guys to do drive time with Scotty and Tori. Because we were practicing this before, but I'll get the outro, and then I'll kick it to you.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us on We Are Pius. If you enjoyed today's conversation, share it with someone who loves Pius and Catholic education as much as we do. We are blessed to be Bolton. Until next time, do your best to restore all things in Christ. Thank you to Scotty and Tori, who will now fill us in on drive time.
Thank you, Jeremy. This is Tori from I-56 going south. Heading past the Target and the 7 Brew, there is still lots of cones. If you get to Old Cheney and Nebraska Highway, there's also more cones, so beware.
You were made for this.
I have nothing to add. That was so funny.
All right, we got it.
Don't hit a cone. Also, it's really, really hot out. That's the weather report. 90 and muggy, just in time for splatter paint. Ew, melty.
Perfect. Thank you, everybody. We're out.
Oh, wait,
Bye-bye.
please do not post that, Father.